So when I was doing my research, I actually did a bit of research, Ryan. You
My
skeptical
God.
man.
My God.
I noticed that you say you like to add your fans to your books. Do you want to tell us a bit about that? And is it obvious or is it subtle?
Okay, so the answer to the second question is yes. It is obvious and subtle. It's not that I take their personalities and their physical descriptions.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll go out every so often and I'll go to a Facebook group that I'm part of, or I'll go to my fan page, although they're pretty well tapped out, and say, "Hey, who wants to be in the next book?" And I'll get a flood of names.
Yeah.
And so, okay, great, fine, all right, yep, and I'll have lists and lists and lists of names for me to draw on, and that all got started with the very first novellas in the Cassidy Chronicles in that first book. So 10 years ago, and I would just say to somebody, "Hey, hey, Lisa, can I use your name? Can I put you into the book as a character?" "Oh, sure." So I've been doing that since the beginning. And one of the nice things is people really like seeing their names in there.
Yeah.
Nicole Crozier, she's a real person. And so I told her that she's, kind of turned into the focus of this next book. And she was like, "What? When does it come out?"
That's such a good idea. Like you'd never have to be stumped for coming up with character names or anything. You just go like, "Who wants to be in the book?" And then you've got this list of
and I have names all over, all sorts of different ethnicities, so it's fairly representative. I like to think it's not just the the Western Hemisphere, Eurocentric kind of names.
Well, I've heard the name Ryan polls very well with readers, so you do have my permission to put me in. I mean, I am an esteemed, I have appeared in one of Jamie's book, and the notoriety has gone to my head. So if you do want to put me in your book, you're more than welcome to.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. You guys know Baen Books?
So,
Baen Books, Baen. They publish John Ringo's books and Dave Weber's.
oh, okay, yep.
So the Honor Harrington books, and yeah.
Yep.
So about 20 years ago, there was a fan named Joe Buckley, and he complained to one of the writers about something they did. So they wrote him into a story and did horrible things to him. Okay? And it became a tradition at Baen that all of the authors took turns, including Joe Buckley, in their stories and did horrible things to him.
Nice.
So my first real attempt at writing something big, was I went and did a fan fiction on what as a sequel to one of John's series, with his blessing.
Mhm.
I might add. I actually, I kept him posted with it, and he was like, you go right ahead, you do it. He even told me how he plans to end the series, but I can't tell anybody. So I won't.
Yeah.
Anyways, so in that, I had my own Joe Buckley.
Yeah.
And I have since, I've talked to Joe Buckley online, and, he's cool with it. So in the very first Cassidy Chronicle story, Joe Buckley makes an appearance, and I do horrible things to him as well.
Nice.
Keeping the tradition alive.
Keeping the tradition alive. Excellent. How did you feel about all this?
I don't know how he felt at first,
Yeah.
but I do know that now he's like, oh yeah, it's traditional. I mean, Dave Weber named a starship after him and then blew it up. So, bad things. Eric Flint and his 1632 series. Yeah, he was in there. He got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad things just always happen to Joe Buckley.
Yeah. Well, Joe Buckley, if you're listening, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to let you live. He's kind of like the Sean Bean of Baen Publishing's novellas. You know, he tends to get into it for a bit, but then he always gets killed off.
Yeah, and it's not widely used, but it's getting there. You know how you have a red shirt, the red shirt character, comes in, maybe has one line and gets killed.
Yeah.
If you bring somebody in and you turn them into a character that has more than one line and they live, I've heard it called being Tuckerized. Okay? But if you bring somebody in and you use their name over and over in different books and different series, and horrible things happen to them, you're being Buckleyed. So he's now a verb.